Yeah, Benny. Good boy. Good boy. What's up, everybody? So, today is Friday. Out walking the dog at the moment. Got a pretty busy day. Walking the dog. Gonna head home after this, and then we are heading to go and see the consultant. Train going past. Then we are heading to see the consultant, and we haven't got much longer left. So it's always a bit of a nervous anxiety time leading up to a consultant appointment. When you're going to be scanned, it's always just really stressful, you know, really nerve-wracking time. And hopefully, again, good news, moving forward, we're nearly there now, so we haven't got much longer left. So, dog walk done, and now we are heading up to the hospital to our baby scan and consultant's appointment. As always, anxiety running high, but we got this. We're confident. Sun is shining. It's going to be a good day. Okay, so sort that focus out. Everything went ace with the scan, went really well. We've only got a short period of time left now. Baby's fine, heart's beating away. Anxiety levels are reduced for another 24 hours. Then we're heading back there again tomorrow. We're going to go for another scan and a check, make sure that everything's okay again, and then back again next week. So the one thing I will say is if anybody lives in the Buckinghamshire area, then you need to go to Stoke Mandeville, because the service of care there is just phenomenal. All of the midwives, staff are just amazing. It's probably the friendliest hospital I've ever been in, and they've got so much time to help you. It's just amazing. So far, everything's going well. We went out for the evening, so it's my birthday on the 7th of April, and chances are over that period of time we're probably going to be preoccupied with the baby, or having the baby, because that's around about the time when Katie potentially will be getting induced. So we went out tonight, had some dinner, we did a bit of shopping. Katie bought me a birthday present, because we're way past the days of surprises. Now it's kind of like, what do you want for your birthday? Okay, I'll take you out and we go and buy it. And that's kind of, after 10 years together, that is where we are at. So no more surprises. Okay, sometimes surprises. Maybe I do her surprises, and with me she just says, what do you want? And we go and get it, because it's just easier. But the baby scan went really well. Anxiety is definitely really high, and I know that there's probably some people that are going to be watching this that haven't had to go through this, which I hope you never do. Some people that have gone through it, some people that are going through it, but there's no easy way through it. You just have to do it. You have to just grit and just get in there and do it. And we decided to go back to the same hospital that we lost Henry to have this next baby, and originally Katie wasn't sure if she wanted to do that, but I said I think it would be a good idea to go back to the same place, because otherwise you will always be afraid of that place, and there will always be this fear of it. Whereas I said, if we could go there and we can do really well and have a completely different experience and come away with a healthy baby, then that changes your perception of that place. But what it also does is, I think it's quite nice to be able to maybe say one day that to our daughter that you was born in the same hospital as what your brother was born in, and I think that's quite a nice connection. So it has been tough, and each scan is really tough, because towards the end, that's when we found out about Henry, literally at a scan, at the end of the pregnancy when we should have been going in there and they should have been inducing her to get him out. So there is never a point where we're like, okay, we're past that point now, because it happened at the end. So every single scan, every time we go back for an appointment, there's this nerve, like I get really sweaty hands because of it. I don't normally get that, but that's one of the anxiety things, really clammy, really sweaty hands. Katie is incredibly nervous, and you can see that in the way that she acts. I'm a bit more chilled out and a little bit more laid back, so subconsciously I am very anxious because there's certain things in, like I said, like clammy hands, sweating a little bit more, that I don't normally do. Look, it's because of this, and at the moment I feel on edge all the time, and it's definitely a subconscious because of worrying about this baby. But I'm maybe better than Katie at, you know, I'm still working, I've got a business that I run, so I have other things on my mind, whereas she only has the baby on her mind, so the anxiety is running high 24/7. But we decided, getting back to it, we decided to go back to the same hospital. And originally when we walked into that hospital for the first time, it's really surreal and it's really strange, and it brings back loads of memories. We've had a baby scan where we ended up, after we'd been back there a few times, so we go and see a consultant. It's completely consultant led. We have more scans than normal, and we went back like a few weeks ago, maybe like 6 weeks ago now, and we were taken in for a scan, and it happened to be in the same room that we was told that Henry's heart had stopped beating, and it happened to be in that exact same room. So it was like both of us walked in. Katie realised straight away. I didn't realise until I was sitting down in the same chair, and then I kind of looked around and thought, this room seems really familiar. And then it just sort of like hit me, and that was why. And then that made Katie even more anxious because of that whole experience. Brings all these memories flooding back. There's, you know, we went there the other day and we see the same midwife that actually was the one that scanned us. We see the same lady a few times who was the one that was doing the actual scanning. The midwife was the one that originally checked for the baby's heartbeat with a Doppler and couldn't find it and said, we need to get you in for a scan. She was really nice. Her name's Jane, absolutely lovely lady, and we've seen her since. And there's something quite nice about going back in and seeing this lady, and she was like, I recognised you. And we said, oh, we wasn't sure if you remembered us, that's why we never really said anything. And she said, you know, I can't forget something like that. She said it was on my mind for a long, long time. It's the first time she had ever experienced something like that. And you don't forget that sort of thing. So it's all these little fears, and now it's being able to go back there and see that same woman and being pregnant again, and you can see how happy she is, and the staff there, like I said before, are just phenomenal. Like, I've never met more caring people who genuinely, you go back there, they remember you, they genuinely want you to succeed, and you can kind of feel that. And being able to go back and share that experience with them, because, you know, if we didn't go back there, that woman might never have saw us again, and she might always be thinking, I wonder what ended up happening with those guys, I wonder what ended up happening with those guys, because she lived part of that experience with us. And we saw her a couple of days, the day that Katie gave birth to Henry, she came and she saw us because she wanted to meet him. So she went out of her way to do that, which is incredible as well. And she came to see us, and she said, look, this was maybe 3-4 days after she'd originally told us that there was no heartbeat. And she said she hadn't been able to stop thinking about it. She'd been thinking about us all night, in the evenings and stuff. So that has affected her as well. So I think there's something amazing to be able to go back there and, fingers crossed, come out with a baby this time, and she's there again, and she's now seen that we're back having another baby. Whereas if we didn't do that, then maybe that woman would always be wondering, what did they do? And not that it's about her, it's about us and our experience. But what I'm trying to get to is, I think that we made the right decision by deciding to go back to the same place. because there's a fear there, and I think you have to kind of tackle that fear head on, and you have to go into it and try and recreate a positive experience. And I think it would be amazing to be able to say that our daughter was born in the same hospital our son was. Imagine the feeling of walking out there nearly a year later, after literally having your hearts broken and just being at the lowest of the low, and coming out a year later with a healthy baby, and in through the same doors. And not that we will, you know, I will always, every time I walk into that hospital now, and when we was in there today, I went to the toilet, and it was the same toilet that I took Arthur to when he was there on the day with us, when we found out about Henry. So that's a different story. I'm going to go into all of that in a completely different vlog, and share that side of things. But he was there with us. So when I go into that toilet now, even now, today, I went in there and I remember the questions he was asking me because he didn't quite understand, and I remember having to try and explain it to him. So it's still hard going in there, but it's just trying to recreate a different experience, and it's trying to make sure that we're not constantly scared of that place. So if anybody is listening to this or watching this who is going through a similar thing, and you're thinking, I want to go to a different hospital, you need to do what is right for you. But that is my experience, that is our experience, and I think in some ways Katie is glad that I convinced her to do that, because I just think, imagine, I mean, walking out of that same place with our daughter will just be the best feeling in the world. And I think to be able to share that with some of the people, that midwife, there's a couple of midwives in the day assessment, the one who was there on the day, there's one we've been back to see loads of times since, and she remembered us from when we was pregnant with Henry going into the day assessment. And then there's the midwife that helped us deliver Henry, and we haven't seen her again yet, but we're hoping that we can share a happier experience with them. And they've both said, the two ladies from day assessment have both said they can, you know, as soon as we've had the baby, they're going to come up and they want to meet the baby, which I just think is incredible. That's incredible for us, and it's incredible for them, because that is probably such a satisfying part of their job. Look, they've seen these people come through and what's happened to them and how they're the lowest of the low, and then a year later they see them walk out, you know, like completely different people. And we will never, ever, 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 ever forget Henry, like ever. In no way ever will I forget him, and it's not taking anything away from that, but it's, when you walk out of there after what happened to us, you never ever think that there is going to be a life beyond this, and you don't understand how you're going to be able to get through it. But to be able to walk out a year later with a baby, it just shows you how you can turn things around. And I want to share that with people, and that's why I want to include that stuff in these vlogs, because I think it can help people in different situations, and in a similar situation to us, to just share my experience. So that is the end of today's vlog. I'm going to head downstairs, have a cup of tea, and chill out for the rest of the evening. And then we've got some cool vlogs coming up. So I will see you in the next one.